Britain is rebuilding her navy and Tyneside is happy. At the naval gun testing station at the Vickers Armstrong Yard, Their Majesties look down rifled barrels and see the sights of an impressive collection of armaments. They are accompanied by Mr. A. Jemison, the chairman of Vickers, and Commander Sir Charles Craven, chairman of Vickers Armstrong. And in another part of the works, Their Majesties greet some of the oldest employees of the company. Every one of these men lined up to greet the King and Queen has had more than 50 years' service. Next, Their Majesties inspect the new wing of the Newcastle General Hospital, where the nurses are lined up to form a guard of honor. And the Queen takes her usual absorbing interest both in the comfort of the staff and in the welfare of the children. And finally, Their Majesties go to the City Hall, there to be greeted by 3,000 of Newcastle schoolchildren. And everywhere along the routes there are cheers to voice the happiness of an area where work and wages have replaced the dull dreariness of depression. After lunch, His Majesty has changed into naval uniform for the great event of the day. Underneath a white canopy, they walk to the platform for the launch of Britain's new 35,000-ton battleship, the first that has left a British yard for 13 years. Grey skies and a cold northeast wind whistling across the heads of thousands in the shipyard as the Queen smilingly greets the cheers. And then a silence falls as Commander Sir Charles Craven asks the King to launch the battleship that is to be named after His Majesty's father.
May it please Your Majesty to name and launch this ship.
I name this ship King George V. May God bless her and those who serve in her.
Years ago, Britain launched her last battleship, the Rodney. Hopefully, we thought she might be the last we should ever need to launch. We had dreams of building a new and better world, a world that would never again know the tramp of armies and the clash of war. Today, those dreams lie shattered, but one truth remains. A mighty British Navy is still the best guarantee, not only of the safety of our own people, but of the peace of all the world. The King George V and the greater ships that are to come after her represent the new spirit of Britain, to lead all nations in strength and determination for peace. Her Majesty the Queen is among the first visitors, as once again Britain's shop window is open to the world. And at Earls Court, Her Majesty puts the Empire first. Ostrich feathers from South Africa. A bouquet of orchids from the botanical gardens in Burma has been specially flown from India and is presented to Her Majesty by Miss Mamie Kang, a student from Rangoon University. By the way, Her Majesty is wearing a velveteen tailored coat with a silver fox fur and a velvet hat as she takes her place in the Fashion Theatre for the parade of clothes that British artists are designing for the world. Give a girl a mirror and a hat and she'll play for hours. But mayn't we have a look? How do you do? A garden party frock in white lace that would make lovely Ascot lovelier still. And the one they're all talking about, with the petticoat 2 inches below the hem of the frock. They call it Rustle While You Walk. And in 1939, here comes the bride in a crinoline gown. Her Majesty Queen Mary spends more than 3.5 hours inspecting nearly 100 stands. You can best judge Queen Mary's interest by the official figures which have just been published. She has made 38 visits to the fairs and has walked more than 100 miles. British manufacturers and British salesmen are grateful to our royal family for the interest that means so much to the industries of the empire. It's the last time they'll hear the hard ring of hooves on the parade ground. The glory of the charger must give way to the efficiency of the machine. At their Yorkshire barracks, the 15th, 19th Hussars are changing over. And from now on, instead of riding high, they'll crawl like ants into little holes. But every morning at 7 o'clock, they're still going to sound stables and give their new mounts a brush and rub down, just for old time's sake. Life may be more efficient, but it isn't nearly so peaceful. War marches on, but deep in the heart of man and beast, there must surely be a sad memory. Goodbye, old pal. A royal birthday party among the snow-capped peaks of the Italian Dolomites. Winter sporting with his mother and father is 2-year-old Prince Victor Emmanuel, grandson and namesake of the King of Italy. His father is Crown Prince Umberto, and both the baby prince and his sister wear peasant costumes for the party. All the local inhabitants bring their presents for the little fair-haired prince. Prince Victor Emmanuel's mother is Princess Marie-José, King Leopold of Belgium's sister, who will one day be Queen of Italy. Afterwards, the peasants march past, but nobody seems to worry in the slightest about the danger of the baby prince poking his eye out. Italy's winter playground on the Mediterranean, and it looks as if they're trying to out-Riviera the Riviera itself. Better floats, crazier floats, but above all, bigger floats. Floats so gigantic that the people on them make them look like crawling anthills. They're tired of the beauties of modern times, so they're turning to the beauties of prehistoric days. After the hula-hula girls, the tired businessmen trying to escape from it all. But look out there! Hold that tiger! I mean that lion! I mean them tigers! Anyway, you'll notice that while the animals are outside the cage, they put the human beings inside. And the dance of the hours with the clock that turns day into night. But why bother? Any old time is playtime in Viarregio. Oh, I say, here are some old friends. Now they've seen us here, they'll tell all the neighbors. In the little old village of Panel near Harrogate at the Church of St. Robert, our cameramen go all hi-hat at the wedding of Miss Barbara Carr Walker to Captain H.L.B. Kealy. After the bride and groom have posed for our cameras, they drive away with what looks like an American police escort. But actually, Captain Kealy is in the Royal Signals, and the signallers provide the guard of honor. The band is playing the wedding march, but something tells me you're hardly likely to hear it. Roaring down the Thames at 20 knots come the Navy's new speedboats, the type that Jack is going to use from now on when somebody wants to be rowed ashore. Only in the Navy these days, they don't row anymore, they just step on the gas. These new boats are powered with ordinary motor car engines, and if you'd like to judge how smoothly they ride, come aboard. They're powered with motor car engines, and they drive just like a car. So Jack has got a new toy.
Flashing across the hard-packed sands of Florida's Daytona Beach, 57 owner-drivers start a grueling 200-miler. From all parts of the United States and Canada come the speed demons who ride it out for the Southeastern Road Racing Championship. In a cloud of dust, they careen into the turns at 50 miles an hour and average more than 70 on the straight. Into the last lap, the leaders plow, opening it up for the final spurt to the finish, with Ben Campanelli out in front to win the title. The St. Paul Winter Carnival is the setting for the National Ski Jumping Tournament, and down out of the sky comes the star of the meet, Ryder Anderson, Norwegian champion. Cliff Gear of Wausau, Wisconsin gets away to a beautiful takeoff. And here he comes, rocketing through the air. But he loses his balance and comes down in the tailspin. Grand Forks, North Dakota sends Walt Mellum flying after the championship. And it's a perfect jump. Erling Jorgensen of New York launches an aerial attack on the title of Best in the United States. But he's down in a tangle of legs and skis. And a newsreel camera's down, too. Say, that ought to be some close-up. Watch Anderson. Here he comes. 197 feet, and the American title goes to Norway.